Command Point is sponsored by Crossfire Games. Use code CommandPoint25 at checkout to get 5% off your next purchase. Link in the description.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Command Point. This is the 76th episode of the podcast, and it's been fun keeping track of that because we never did. And I'm joined here today. First of all, there's a lot to talk about today, and I'm joined by a very special guest. This is Sean, the winner of the Tacoma Open with Plague Marines. Sean, how's it going?
I'm good. My voice is a little shot after the weekend, but I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, that always happens. I mean, you get into those convention centers and you know, the big areas, and it's just so many voices. It's so loud, and you're just shouting the whole weekend.
Yeah, and not to mention knowing most of the people there. I joked with everybody. It felt like a big family reunion.
Yeah, that's kind of what these tournaments feel like a lot of the time to me, too. It's a good time. I mean, it's been a while since I've been to one of the big ones. I think Adepticon was the last big one outside of my region. Nova's the next one for me, and I can't wait. That's really going to be like half the fun for me. Is just, you know, the reconnection, I guess. And I mean, Tacoma's kind of that's pretty much in your neck of the woods, right?
Oh yeah, I'm probably about an hour and a half away from Tacoma, so I did stay in a hotel and everything, but it was really close.
Yeah, it's got to be so nice having a like a U.S. Open so close. I mean, I don't think there's anything that close to me that would be considered a major. Everything's at least 5-6 hours. It's all like flight distance. It's like the distance I'm unwilling to drive. Really is what it usually comes down to.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty lucky, and that was my first major tournament ever. So not this Tacoma Open, but Tacoma Open in general.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely holds a special place for me.
Yeah, what was this, your third year going?
Yeah. My
Nice.
first year, I was a very green newbie and had a great time, and then just kept going back.
Yeah, I mean, I find that and you know, you had just not too long ago the AVTT, which you won with, I believe it was Brandon and Zach, correct?
Yep, and I was also playing Plague Marines for that. That was such an amazing time.
Yeah, so I mean, you're on kind of a roll here the past couple months. I guess before we get into Tacoma, because we are going to talk about all that, and we're going to talk about Plague Marines and everything. I mean, there is an elephant in the room with us, Sean, and it's the Dataslate that dropped today at the time of recording. And I mean, we're going to talk about that. I don't want to go line by line and, you know, like read it to people, because it's Friday when people are listening to this. They already know. And if they don't, you know, we'll give them a little overview. But I mean,
yeah, I think the best way is the joke I make with people is like, you've already watched John's video. You don't need to go through it line by line. It's better just to look at it from a conceptual basis. So I agree with that.
Yeah, and you know, I talked about it on with Travis and Jason over at Just Another Kill Team podcast. If people want to go listen to that, if you haven't already, that's a good chat. But I guess I'll start from I just want to quickly go over the core changes. So there's the first one about close quarters on guard. Basically, if you go on guard, if you do a guard action, you can't counteract. This is clearly a targeted Space Marine thing for the most part. I like this change. I'm kind of okay with it. I mean, Sean, you've been playing a lot of elites. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I mean, if I'm looking at it just from, I want to play Space Marines all the time, it's not great for a Space Marine player, but I mean, you and I have talked about this so many times. I look at the game from a conceptual, like, what's the most healthy way to play the game, and I think that this is a really good change.
Yeah, I would agree. And then, of course, there's the other one about severe, and specifically, I mean, they narrow it down in the rules commentary with this clarification that you can only retain a dice once. So, like, if a dice has been retained as a normal, it can't become a crit unless it's really severe is kind of one of the few few ones that calls this out, and there's a handful of other like faction specific rules, but and then it also calls out that devastating, or rather punishing and rending don't trigger after severe as a result of a crit gain from severe. And I just have to, I want to get the spiciness out of the way first, because I wonder about this, reading this, and I've been reading the discussions all day, and I just can't wrap my head around why. I can't figure out the why of why we had to do this. There's definitely been, I mean, there's two arguments really. There's one that this was how it was intended from the start, which I just don't buy, because I mean, you had to have not been paying attention from day one, because people are talking about like Legionary making a crit and then getting rending and then triggering punishing from like day one as soon as we had access to those rules. So I don't believe that that's it. So it must be some kind of like intentional change now. And I can't figure out who asked for this. I mean, what is your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, I spent a good chunk of the day, things were slow at work, going over this in the Command Point Discord, which if you are listening to this video on YouTube and you've not joined that Discord, please do it. If you want to get better at Kill Team, you need to be on there, period.
Agreed.
But
as an unbiased,
totally unbiased from you, I'll do it for you. But I mean, it's such a weird niche rule, because Felgor have Ambush that allows them to modify one of their normals to a crit. That doesn't apply to this. Things like Coiled Serpent from Wormblade doesn't apply to this, but faction rules like Salvager's Grudges do, because anything that happens after you're done modifying your dice, like Severe, it doesn't work. But things that happen during the attack sequence, it does, because you can re-roll and modify dice one at a time until they're retained. So it's very, very niche. I think that it feels like it's almost like a targeted nerf towards teams like Hierotek Circle, because this is one of the few teams that really abuse this interaction of accurate, rending, and severe. Other than that, I really can't see a scenario where it comes up.
Yeah, actually, the more I've thought about it today, it's like, I think this is going to have a lot of ripple, like unintended side effects. For instance, Chaos Cult has accurate 2 and rending pretty prevalently throughout that team.
Oh yes, yep. I think, I mean, it's also created a rules hole in the game where now we're completely not going rules as written. There is no retained dice step. They've even shown in this rules commentary that there's still not a retained dice step.
Yeah.
But okay, we're just kind of vibing it, and then you're leaving blank spots like, what about stun?
Yeah.
And so I'm not a huge fan of it. I think there needs to be some pretty quick response clarity, and we all know that's not going to happen, but they do their best.
And I'd be more willing. This seems like they wrote it as if it was like a quick, messy fix to a problem. But the worst part is I don't even feel like there was like a big glaring problem that needed to be addressed with this. It's just sort of like a strange addition to the rules, I guess. I don't want to go too deep on this, but let's go quick. Elites as a whole, it seems like they kind of went one by one and hit each of them. For the most part. I mean, Angels of Death, the big one is Dueler. Dueler, this is actually, I love this change in a vacuum. I love that they got rid of the Dueler bullet that lets you parry 2 normals with a crit. I love it. My problem was when I called for this, when I was talking to people, I was saying I kind of hope they like give them something back. And they kind of don't. I mean, they give an inch of movement to the heavy intercessor, whatever. That's interesting, I guess. And then they do some nerfs to the sergeants, the intercessor and assault intercessor sergeants, which I think is funny because I personally when I was briefly playing this team, I really only played the captain myself. I don't know about you, Sean. If you're not really an Angels player, I don't think, but I was pro captain on that side.
I definitely play them just because I think it's good to play into as many teams as you have time for. And yeah, I think the Intercessor Sergeant is still going to be your number one pick outside of the Captain, um, just for the long range shooting. If you don't need long range shooting, I don't see a reason why you don't take the Captain. And then the Dueler change, if we're looking at it in a vacuum of all of the elites have been brought down, we're trying to make 10 or 9, 10, and 11 activation teams a little bit better because these are the hard walls for them. Then Dueler changing in this way makes sense. There's also a ton of other chapter tactics that really haven't been explored at a competitive level. And we saw this same sort of style with Intercessors last edition, where one tactic would get nerfed, they'd switch to another one, and we'd see. And so it's not a bad change personally.
Yeah, it's interesting. I suspect that eventually Angels of Death is going to get some sort of buff in the future because they're kind of not doing well. They were just sort of askew. Next on the Marine Corps, I mean, we're looking at Legionary. Legionary, I think, kind of got hit the hardest of all the elites. The big one being Nurgle. You only ignore injury now from Implacable if you are Nurgle, like keyword. So, and then the piercing reduction, I mean, quote unquote reduction, is like the primary thing that everybody gets. I mean, on top of that, Khorne got a random hit with the max of 7 damage instead of 8 damage, which I think is weird. Fickle Fates, I think, became like balanced instead of ceaseless. So it's just, yeah, I don't know. These changes are pretty harsh. I think this kind of kills Legionaries a little bit. They were already sort of like behind a few of the other elite teams.
Yeah, I mean, Legionaries were a glass cannon team, and their whole power spike was the fact that they could one-shot 8 wound models. Now they can't, and they're still a glass cannon, and their dice fixing is worse. It's slightly better than Nemesis Claw, but also it's one of those situations, and again, you and I have talked about this, where the rotation is right around the corner, so sure, Legionaries are weaker. Am I hurt about it? No.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. There's Nemesis Claw also. You mentioned Nemesis Claw. They got some interesting changes. So first of all, in Midnight Clad is if you're within... They need to be more than 8 inches now invisible to enemies in order to have Midnight Clad be on the line. Before it was 6 inches. I mean, they nerfed Return to Darkness. It's a 4-inch move now. And then Prescience, here's the big one. Your Prescience points go away at the end of the turn. Kind of like they get to experience the horrors of the Jaeger players losing their resourceful points.
Yeah, the first 2 changes, you as a regular Nemesis Claw player, you're probably not going to notice, or you can straight up just ignore them. The Prescience one, you're going to feel really, really hard on turn 2 if you rolled a 1 on turn 1.
Yeah, for sure. And also, it's funny because I've been talking to a few Nemesis Claw players about it, and the ones I've talked to actually are most upset about the Return to Darkness change, which...
That one is pretty bad because that was their core power spike. You delay an activation, go out with your Melta, kill something, and then return to darkness between turns.
Yeah.
Now you really can't get away.
Yeah, I think these changes are going to hurt for sure for Nemesis Claw. I mean, I think the Prescience change it's a little sad for them, but I think it's going to be really bad when they roll 1, like you said. But for those moments where they get 3, it'll feel a lot better for the opponent that they're not just going into the next turn with like a pool. But yeah.
It's also in line with other teams, so it's really not that big of a deal. The way I've looked at a lot of these changes is it only is bad if you only know one play style.
Right.
If you really want to develop your skills on that team, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Move on to Warp Coven. The Kopeshas have 4 attacks with balance now. This is like kind of a nothing change almost. I mean, it's not nothing. It is a small decrease, I think, in their efficiency. And it does, make them worse at fighting higher wound operatives, just because 4 attacks, you eventually run out of attacks, right? With 5 attacks, you can really brawl for a while in a singular fight, but with stuff like Raveners running around with 20 wounds, 4 attacks is a meaningful nerf there, but against a lot of things, like like 8 wound or less models, or even, I mean, it's a 4/6 like power sword basically. Any 10 wounds or less, this isn't gonna feel that different, I don't think. And then Brotherhood of Sorcerers too, going from ceaseless to balanced. So, just I don't know.
The Brotherhood of Sorcerers one is going to be rough for them because, again, all of the elites have bad dice fixing outside of Plague Marines. The Kopeshes, I think, is totally fair when you have a team where almost everybody on the team has like piercing or dev wounds or all these things. It's like, you're a shooting team. You can't be shooting and fighting. That's not fair.
Yeah, honestly, my only complaint about these nerfs, I think they could have gone further with Warp Coven. I think Warp Coven's really good, and
I agree.
Seems like they're probably going to be legal at Worlds now. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they could have done more. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Is there another? Okay, Phobos. Let's do Phobos. They got one change, and then thank God, because I think if Phobos didn't get nerfed here, they would have just been like by far the best elite team. Basically, they don't get balanced for when they're getting balanced from deadly shots for shooting a guy not in cover. They also have to be more than 6 inches. So all the situations where you go break their cover within 2, they don't have balanced. So
never use deadly shots now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a meaningful change to their reliability, especially on turn 2 when they're starting the engagements and they're attacking concealed operatives. I think on the other side, playing against Phobos, my thought is I feel less urgency to start the fight and let them come to me and maybe take a less efficient shot. I like this.
Yeah, I would say the guard change was more impactful to Phobos than this was.
For sure. I would definitely agree with that, especially because, track target. You lose that counteract later. Very interesting. Okay. I think that's all the elites. I'm going to save
one more.
Plagues for last, just because we'll segue in naturally into Tacoma. Let's talk about my sweet Hierotek. Because everybody was expecting them to just get pulverized, like there to be like a crater in the ground where Hierotek once stood. And I'll say, I think that in a vacuum, like ignoring all the other nerfs, and not nerfs, but ignoring all the other changes from this data slate, I think these are good changes. I think they're actually pretty well measured.
Yeah, we're going to pretend like this is a huge nerf and we're really sad as Hierotek players.
Yeah. I think that in the context of a lot of other strong teams getting worse, Hierotek comes out of this looking pretty good. But I do think, like, if you just look at these changes in a vacuum, as a Hierotek player, this is what I would have personally said they should change. So for starters, the first thing, and I'm glad they caught this. You can't command a guy to while you're counteracting. That was so stupid. It was like it just created weird situations where like you're basically getting to counteract with a concealed operative, and yeah, it was just a little too much. But the real stuff is.
No, I think that one is huge, or just super fair, super measured. I think the time splinter change is the biggest one, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean 5 inches instead of 6. So like really, when I say 6 inches, it was really 7 inches because you just had to be within, not wholly within. So now 5 inches, it kind of is more like 6 inches plus change. They did they clarified the comms device thing, so that's good because that was just game busting in certain boards. And you can't do time splinter if, first of all, you can't do it in the first turn, so the Alpha Strike is kind of dead for the most part, unless you just go bananas and you do like a bunch of other weird stuff. But the Alpha's dead, and if you've time splintered once with one guy, the other guy can't do time splinter. So once the time splinter's been used, your opponents on the other side don't have to keep stressing out about, if your Chronomancer did it, they don't have to constantly worry about what your Apprentice can pull off. So I think that the cognitive load of playing against Hierotek has definitely lowered. I think from a straight baseline power level, they're still quite good. Very good, I would say. Probably S tier, I would imagine. But it's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, this is, now they're a little bit fair to play against, but Death Marks are still the best shooting operative in the game, straight up. They can almost guarantee, I think it's like a 70 or 80% chance to kill a 10 wound model before they roll their defense dice.
Yeah, I'd say that Death Marks and my personal pick for best shooting model in the game, I have to give it to my boy, the double rocket pistol knob. That guy is just like a delete button. It's just insane. But the Death Marks are definitely up there.
Yeah, no, for just a single shot reliable operative, the Death Marks are so good.
Yeah.
And then the command change, I think, is really good because, like you said, you don't have to worry about it happening from both sides of the board. And then it also removes a lot of those toxic interactions of, like, your Apprentech teleporting somebody and then magnifying through them, so that way the Cryptech can teleport somebody else and command them because he can use both abilities. I like this change. I still think they're pretty good. I might even start playing them more.
Yeah, and they're I kind of want to. I was like anticipating dropping them because every time Hierotek gets nerfed, it's just like it's like a full assault. It feels like they just go as hard as they can on the thing that they're nerfing, and yeah, I think I might bust them back out. Honestly, I'm excited to play some more Hierotek. I'm glad that my opponents aren't gonna hate me on turn one. It'll like hopefully get delayed for a couple turns before they start hating Hierotek.
Yeah, and all of their bad matchups got worse. So,
yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Let's move on quick to Goremongers. So Goremongers, I am not super surprised they caught a nerf. I kind of expected this. They didn't nerf the stuff that I expected them to. I thought for sure they were going to hit the half damage melee thing. Instead, they left that alone. Went after the healing, which I think everybody expected this. It's now D3 plus 1 instead of 2D3. And the leader's just a scratch is normal damage only. That's baseline. I'm okay with that. What do you think about these changes?
These aren't real nerfs. I'm sorry. The fact that you can still double heal, and the just a scratch. I would say there's a good chunk of Goremongers players who forget their Blood Herald has the just a scratch at all. Now it's just been brought in line with everybody else.
Yeah. But
the D3 plus 1, okay. Half the time you roll a 1 on the second dice anyways.
Yeah, this is kind of my thing. I don't think this is much of a nerf. A lot of the time when I'm using the heal, it's like because I just fought and I have like 7 or 8 wounds left anyway. Left. Not I like usually when I heal with 2 wounds left, it's like I'm already kind of in a bad spot. And back when you could heal from 2 wounds, you couldn't, even with 2d3 with the best roll possible, you're still dying to one shooting attack at that point. I really think that they should have, instead of going after the healing, gone after that half damage in melee, because that is the thing in my eyes that makes them really, really hard to deal with.
Especially when we play Jaegers.
Yeah. And I mean, it just feels a little power creepy to me, I think is what I said on Travis's podcast. That type of damage reduction is like every time they get hit, or not every time they fight the first time they get hit, instead of the first time they get hit each turn. I don't know.
Yeah, they feel like a 14 wound team.
Yeah.
That are faster than everybody else in the game. It's a bit much, but
and all their problems.
If you can't double shoot them after they've killed a model,
yeah,
you can't win. You can't.
And their problem matchups got nerfed too. All the elites got nerfed. The only other thing I want to highlight with Goremongers is that severe change does pretty noticeably impact them, because they do have a 1 CP severe ploy that really only existed to give their aspirants, rending. And now that doesn't work, which is funny. That's another thing. I just cannot imagine that this was ever intended. When I just look at some of the rules and I'm like, that ploy, that existed for rending. Let's be real.
I mean, I disagreed with the wrist change ruling that they came out with.
Yeah, me too.
I don't get it. Now, if you ever use that ploy, you're using it on the Skull Claimer.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
But that's Goremongers. The other teams here, I mean, Brood Brothers caught some needed nerfs. I think they could have got a little bit more. I think they're still quite good. They basically, same idea. You can't do the Alpha Strike stuff as easily. No Insidious on turn 1. They hit the Primus, which surprised me. And the Magus, he only gets one of those two things instead of both. And yeah, I don't know. The Magus is still the take probably here, if I had to guess.
Because even if it's a choice between one of the three options, having those three options in your pocket make you so strong. And for people who don't know, it's the Magus allows you to ignore piercing, ignore any APL modifiers, or ignore injury. Before it was all three. Now you just pick one every turn.
Yeah, you're just going to use the one you need, right? I mean, it's you'll be fine. It's not often you need more than one at any given time. So
before they were just a brutal horde. Now there's a little bit of counterplay with things like stun grenades if they use it at the wrong time.
Yeah, and then the Icon Ward ploy. You just have to be visible too. No, you don't have to be visible before, so that's good. Brood Brothers, I still think are very good. It's it's a good thing you don't have to worry about the alpha, and I anticipate to continue seeing that team at top tables.
Yeah, now without the threat of the alpha, though, I do think that they're going to drop a little bit in power, because when you were sitting across from them, you respected it, and now you just don't have to on turn one, and they don't have the power to double kill in first activation, so you can really pressure them now.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go quick. I mean, Hunter Clade got a buff. This is funny. They can take more guns, like special guns now. Before I think it was like 6, and now you can take up to 7. I mean, this is and also the Omnisci's Imperative Firefight ploy. You no longer hurt yourself to do it, because paying a CP and hurting yourself was obviously too much of a cost for anything. I think these changes are actually it's kind of a funny thing, because I always dump on Hunter Clade, and I think they're really boring, and I can't wait for them to get rotated. But they're kind of a decent team now, I think. I mean, we'll see if anybody plays them at Worlds or anything, or anybody does anything in the next few months. But I think they're decent.
Yeah, like it'll be interesting to see how Worlds shakes out with them. There's not many tournaments going for the rest of the year. Like there's a few, like 5 or 6, which is a lot, I guess. But it's an interesting change. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to make them sit at the top, but at least they'll be playable.
For sure, yeah. Speaking of teams that got buffs, Navy Breachers, +1 wound, the classic. I mean, this
combat stims.
Yeah, they're so tanky. I'm curious to see. I kind of want to give this team a spin. I don't think they're good, but their damage reduction is just like kind of bonkers. They did buff the Void Jammer Geist Skull detonator. It's lethal 4 up instead of lethal 5, which is pretty good. It threatens from just so far away. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's got an 8-inch move. It's a pretty scary operative, and it is stun with Blast 1, so it can really hurt your team.
Yeah.
But looking at these changes, my instant reaction was, "Oh, cool! Inquisitorial agents just got way better."
Yeah. I
don't see a reason why you take them solo.
Yes, I think that I mean, I do think they're like a very solid defensive team, like if you are willing to commit to like a not very fun play style. But it's worth pointing out that Breachers really got hammered by that severe change too, because they're one of the teams that has like that severe punishing combo. So even in this data slate, they kind of come out not feeling awesome.
Yeah, Blitz got just chunked, which was like, that was their whole win condition, is get a good blitz.
Yeah, I mean, their whole identity now just feels kind of like sit around, be kind of tanky, have one explosive play per turn, and just try to score security as best as you can.
Yeah, I would say they probably play security better than most teams in the game, though.
Yeah.
Especially now.
I mean, they have really good synergy with Secure Center, weirdly enough.
Yeah, just throw like 4 operatives on it.
Yeah. I'm going to skip the Novitiates thing because it's really just paired with the Sanctifiers thing. We can talk about this. Okay, really quick, Pathfinders, they lost their Alpha Strike potential somewhat. Not all the way, but somewhat. And then the Grav Inhib basically just caught a nerf. It's just that it's whatever. We hate Pathfinders. Everybody hates Pathfinders. Oh, wait a minute. Sean, you actually like Pathfinders. So
you don't put
thoughts.
that evil on me. That was a year ago. I think that the recon swoop change is needed. They were super toxic with that interaction, especially with Monk Ha. The grab inhibitor change is also in line with everybody else. It's fine. The dash change is good, and then the treat the distance as an additional 2 is just basically -2 off of your movement, but you're doing it while you're moving.
Yeah.
So they had to word it that way. That's all it is.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much. They just Grav Inhib was pretty crazy. It was like a nanomine from last edition. Now it's more like a regular, nanomine.
It's no big deal. I think that I can't wait until the rotation happens. That's how I look at a lot of these changes. Yeah. I don't want to think about these teams anymore.
I am in the same boat. All right, 2 more teams because we're going to skip Scouts too. Sanctifiers, this was the other big bad. In my opinion, got off pretty scot-free here. The 3-inch movement from Lead the Procession is still really, really good. It's definitely, of course it's worse than moving 6 inches, but no matter how you cut it, this is a great ability. And the level of flexibility, if you're setting your models up and the auras and everything, you're just way too maneuverable. And I still think this is, extremely powerful. But the thing is that it's what they didn't do that bothers me. I think you needed to hit that damage reduction. It should be a minimum 3 instead of a minimum 2.
Yes. It's so broken.
I can't believe that stays the same. There's just so many teams they just say no to. So, I don't love it. They did change again. The Blaze stuff, and this is where Novi's got nerfed too. You have to inflict damage, not just retain the crit. Whatever. And then the Cult Devotion rule. You have to be visible, kind of like the Icon Word. That's just like an across the board thing, it seems. But I'm really surprised that they didn't hit the damage reduction, because I would have been okay if I had to pick. I would have rather they kept the movement and got hit on damage. Like, I'm okay with them being a really maneuverable team if you can actually kill them. But now they're still decently maneuverable, not crazy maneuverable, decently maneuverable, and they're outright impossible to kill for some teams.
Yeah, no, I agree. Turning Space Marine bolters into las pistols is awful. And honestly, I get what they're doing with the nerfs, because you and I and probably a lot of people listening play at higher tables where this team is piloted properly and they're super threatening and super scary. But if you're a newer player and you don't understand tempo and activation order and stuff like that, this is an easy team to fail with. So
Yeah.
I get why they're not hitting them with a sledgehammer, because they just wouldn't be playable at mid to low tables. But for like us, like the Blaze change, I was like, they have Blaze? I didn't know that. Like, it
It's
never
all
comes
over.
up. They just kill you.
Yeah, they're
It's the fact that when you hit them, even when the no fails, you do like 4 damage.
Yeah, I hate it. I actually played this team for the first time the other day, and it was like, man, how does anybody like die with this team? I'm just getting shot left and right. I'm giving up shots all over the place, and I'm just living. And they're beefy. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I would love to see like Rekka crew destroy them or something. I'm guessing you just need to hit them with a ton of blast attacks, or like
I think Rekkas are.
Hierotek have a great game into them with the Teslas.
Well, even the Teslas, they go to 2-2.
Yeah, but you can't ignore the dev.
Yeah, you can't. I've thought about this a lot. I think with Hierotek, you just have to go with the piercing bolters for the most part. Gauss, which are normally 4-5. I don't know. Sanctifiers got to get that damage reduction hit.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Okay, let's get into the fun part. Plague Marines. maybe not fun for you, this nerf. Contagion. It's no longer triggering just whenever somebody's in combat. They have to be poisoned or within 3 of the icon, or I think that's it. Those are the only ways, right?
Yep. You have to be poisoned before the action or the icon within 3. Both are within 3, so of course it'll apply to control range, but you don't just get it for free in melee anymore. And it's weird. I don't care.
Okay.
For 2 reasons. One of them sounds super cocky. I've taken this team as far as I can go, so I'm probably not going to be playing them much anymore outside of like casual fun play. I'm not the type of person who just sits on a team for a year. I get bored. And then the other part of it is they still have a ton of tools to apply poison ahead of time. Now you just actually have to play the team instead of just doing like one play style where you ignored most of their firefight plays. So it's not bad. You and I both played Plague Marines. Like, I bet you've thought about it. It's like, yeah, no, I have other ways to poison people. They're not great, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the big takeaway too is I'll ask you this as we go, but I mean, I think at this point there's not really a justification for not taking the icon, if there ever was one. And now, like you said, you're kind of just forced to like find ways to get your poison out, which I think is a good design space for them to lean into. As it was just way too stat checky, and it was really hard to, like, for certain teams just couldn't handle Plague Marines. So I actually really like this change. Who knows how they'll look in the coming months with this change. Maybe somewhere down the line they get a buff and poison's easier to get out or something, but ultimately I'm kind of okay.
I think they could revert the contagion for free change after this.
Oh yeah.
Just because you're dumping so much CP on the other abilities. And I think that anytime that you're having to spam firefight or strat ploys for a team, it's not a good, well-designed team.
Yeah.
I really just, across the board, if you have to take all of your faction equipment, guess what? The team's not designed well. If you have to take certain ploys every single turn, the team's not designed well. And this is, like, I'm not a person who works on these games, but I have a lot of respect for the people who do. It's just, it's not fun for players, because then once you run into a drought of CP, you're just having a terrible game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think that once people figure it out, all of the elites will be fine. They're just not auto-winning some matchups, and that's healthy for the game.
Yeah, I would agree. And we're have a Death Watch team on the way, so who knows what that's going to look like.
No, they're going to be busted. Watch. That's the Reddit take, by the way. I don't actually think that. Reddit people think that they somehow have the foresight to design these teams to be powerful on release and then nerfed later. This isn't League of Legends, people. This isn't how this works.
Yeah. Reddit is not where I go for analysis. I'll say that. So let's talk about Tacoma, because you won Tacoma, and we're not going to do a Plague Marine deep dive here, but
no, any advice I have is useless now. Sorry.
Yeah, especially considering that. So I mean, you played 7 games. You went 7-0. What teams did you play against?
Well, and first, one thing that I'd love to mention, just because it rarely ever gets brought up, I put myself in a good headspace before this tournament. I think you and I have talked about that before. It's really easy to have like expectations and pressure yourself to perform to a certain standard and all these sorts of things. But the biggest factor going into this tournament is I was just trying to have a good time and have one good game after the other. And I think that if more players do that, the better they'll feel, really. So if that means anything.
Yeah, seconded. I mean, that's a good thought to have. Honestly, it's easy to get in your head in the lead up to a tournament, especially a big one. And I think a big part of this game is, especially like doing well at tournaments in particular, is like the mental side of it. Just like being in a good, zone for yourself. And people have talked about ways to get yourself in that headspace. I know that John, I think, has some videos about that. Can You Roll Crit It's a big part of it that I think doesn't get talked about too much.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on that for anybody else who's like, oh man, I want to do well. Just play some games, have a good time, and it'll happen eventually. It's all luck at that point. Good team, good matchups, good dice, good maps. As long as you're having a good time, it'll happen eventually. I know it.
I'd love to
But
hear
yeah,
it.
so for Tacoma, first game I played against AOD, which is actually a challenging matchup for Plague Marines. So I took like very specific notes, but we don't have to go into it because most of it won't apply. But it was a take ground map for me. I know that going into a lot of these high level games, both me and the person that I'm sitting across from usually have an idea of how things are supposed to go because those are the most optimal things. So I've always got something in my back pocket that's a little weird. And on that map specifically, I knew I couldn't outfight him early on to get the take ground because it was the stronghold that's just sitting in the center, which is Volkus map 6. But he had a stronghold on his side of the board, so I actually just sent 3 Marines to go take that stronghold because there's no reason for him to be inside of it. There's no objectives over there. There's nothing over there. So that play was actually what won me the game.
Interesting. And also did I guess you mentioned take ground was take ground your go-to? What was the TAC op split like at this tournament for you?
I did take ground or secure center on every single game except for one. I didn't touch seek and destroy. I think it's too risky into the matchups that I had. Every single matchup outside of 2 of them were very unfavorable to Plague Marines. Like I had a really hard run.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, because there are like that's kind of the thing with security, is especially security seek as a combo is like sometimes you hit boards matchups combinations and it's just like, yeah, like nothing's really good here. I just got to figure it out. And that's something that recon teams don't ever have to like really find themselves saying. At least some recon teams. It can get tough out there.
Yeah, no, and that was what it came down to a lot of the time. Like this map, take ground was very difficult to think of and approach, and I think I only scored 4 points from it. But the other option of secure center was just not possible. And contain is so bad into a lot of matchups. Like just don't do it.
Yeah,
it's so easy to deny. And then storm objectives wasn't possible because on Volkus map 6, his objective is just sitting in the middle of the board. He would have just shot me off of it. So
right.
Take ground just seemed like the only option, and it worked out really well. Going into turn 4, and again, everybody I played was actually very good. I knew everybody this tournament. But going into turn 4, he had 1 Marine at full health and 3 at 1 health with a poison token before they activated.
Yeah, that's always the fun spot with Plague Marines is when you find yourself in that position and it's like it's just chef's kiss. It's like game's over.
Oh yeah, it's the best. I don't want to swear or anything, but oh god, it was so good. I was just like, yeah, you're all gonna die, and I'm just gonna ignore you and focus that one guy hiding in the back.
Yeah.
So that went really well. But yeah, so I ended that one 17-10. Not a max score, which I always try to in a tournament. You always want to go for as many points as possible. But again, I was just having a good time, so I wasn't focused on that. I just wanted to win.
Yeah. So you went AOD, and then what was round 2?
Round 2 was against Hierotek Circle with a really good Canadian player named Chuck Yee.
Oh, yes, I know
have
Chuck.
some history. Yeah, I mean, most people who play in tournaments know Chuck. He's a great guy. My very first Tacoma Open, I played him in round 2. I had never played against commandos before that. And he set up the sneaky git dynamite combo and killed half my team on his first activation. He was so apologetic because he thought I'd be bummed. But I'm like, I didn't know the matchup, so of course I'm not going to be bummed. I think that's important if you want to be a competitive player. If you're not prepared, you can't be salty. So I was cheering him on the whole time. So when it came to this game, he was like, "Oh God, it's been 2 years," and he told me this. He's like, "I guess it's time for payback," and I was like, "Yes, it is time for payback." And I pulled no punches. I was able to kill 3 Hierotek operatives on turn 1.
Ooh.
Yeah.
With Plague Marines. How did that happen?
He positioned pretty poorly, and he admitted it. I was able to get a counteract shot and kill an immortal. That was just a lucky roll. And then because I know how Hierotek works, I just set up a guard with the Bladecaster from across the board. And so he was in a situation where if he put an expended death mark on guard or in the doorway, I'd shoot him. If he moved up to teleport the death mark into the room, I'd shoot him. And if he tried to command the death mark, I'd shoot him. So he just kind of like went for it, and I was able to get the shot off on the death mark anyways, and the Apprentech, even though it was obscured on the Apprentech, I rolled just enough to kill him as well.
Oh,
so
nuts.
From that point, his home flank collapsed, and the game was pretty much over. That was the only time I took contain because I was nervous about the Hierotek matchup. So we ended up denying it, and he went confirm kill. So the score ended up as 14-11, but I just squeaked out a win on that one.
Okay, nice. Round 3?
Round 3 was Hierotek again.
Oh.
Local player named CB who's been grinding Hierotek. He started playing at the beginning of this edition, but he's so good. Him and I have practiced a few times. He still hasn't quite figured out how to beat the Plague Marine matchup when we play, but he's getting better every time. I had the funniest interaction that I didn't think about, because when I'm playing with people I know, I always try to warn them about a gotcha. I think you should have a full understanding of what's going to happen so you can make those choices, and I hate gotchas. But he went on guard behind a door that was closed, and I didn't realize until I went to do it. So this was like 3 activations later. I was like, I'm going to walk up to this door with my fighter, and I'm letting you know I'm going to open it, but we're going to be in control range when I open it. He goes, okay. And then we spent 5 minutes waiting for Dakota to confirm that Contagion makes you injured, and then Point Blank Overwatch makes you hit 1 worse. So his full health death mark was shooting me on 5s.
That's wild. And I'm assuming it didn't kill the fighter.
It did 4 damage, and then I killed him because he couldn't resolve dice in the fight. It was pretty funny on my end. He was a good sport about it, but I just really have been practicing Hierotek so that I could beat them. So I knew exactly where I could flex their positioning and use guard in really aggressive ways, because they just didn't have the ability to, or I'd never go on guard in a situation where they could just shoot me as their first action. They'd have to move. And that alone made it to where he couldn't really leave his drop zone. So I ended that game at 15-9.
Okay, nice. So that was round 3, and then there's one more game on day 1, right?
Yep. So I went into this tournament. I was like, I just want to make top 8. That's all I cared about. And I got pretty lucky, in my opinion, because my game 4 was against Goremongers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's not much to say there if you've played Plague Marines. I mean, it'll be a lot easier now for Goremongers to have a real game.
Oh, for sure.
But it was 21-10.
Yeah. Was this on Open or ITD?
This one was on ITD, map 5.
Okay. So do you think, from the perspective of the Plagues, would you say ITD is easier for that matchup?
Oh yeah, because you have guard.
Guard, yeah, that's what I figured.
I mean, you never want to use it on a point blank shot. Use it to fight first if they charge you. But you can kind of like control the positioning by just staying back with somebody else on guard and like use that to move up the board. They're going to be very afraid of you. Not now, but at the time, it was James Loomis, great guy. And he was a great sport about it. He just was bummed that he got the unlucky pairing. But yeah, that game ended 21-10. Like he even guessed my tag up mid turn 2. Like he just didn't have a game plan because he couldn't plant beacons and avoid me. There were just walls in the way.
So you go 4-0, make top 8, obviously. And then day 2, it's a top 8 cut. In your first matchup, correct me if I'm wrong, you played Gormuggers again?
Yeah, because that game, so I was in first place at the end of day 1, which I was shocked about. And the way Swiss pairings work is the first place player is going to play the 8th place player. And James just barely made top 8, beating out some other people on win percentage. So I got paired into him again, but this time on open.
Okay, so open. How much did it feel? Obviously, you won the game. Did it feel at any point like there was like a way in for the Goremongers, or is it just like kind of doomed?
No, there's no way in, and he's a good player too. But no, it didn't even feel hard, and I felt bad about it. That one ended 19-11. The big difference on that game is I didn't table him. He ran away with the intel into his drop zone with his ritualist, and he killed 2 Marines instead of 1.
Oh,
yeah, it's just not a real matchup with Contagion the way it was. So
yeah,
that's
especially
why I was fine with the nerf.
You know, I think before the errata to wrist chains, they had like that was like something that helped, and then they got rid of that, and then it was just like, yeah. I mean, not, like we said, now it'll be a little more even, not even maybe, but at least, you know.
Yeah, I think you just start charging on turn 2 with Goremongers in that matchup.
Yeah.
Just full aggression, send it. If you get that matchup on open, you have a better chance because of the Stalker. But it's pretty bad. Like his Stalker never got to do anything that game because I just moved up with my Plaguecaster and poisoned him, and then on a counteract I used my Asthma again.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was
Gotcha.
rough.
And then so you go into the top 4 now, semifinals. What's the matchup?
This one was the only game that I was truly like nervous because I try not to be nervous in tournaments. But it was more like a excited nervous because it was Brandon Bean, my teammate from AVTT, playing Blooded. He is arguably the best Blooded player in the world. I think the only reason why he's not is because of ITC shenanigans, but he is so good with that team.
Yeah, I mean, he's been repping them for years now.
Yeah, and he's probably going to take him to Worlds if they let him.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, we had ITD map 4, which doesn't leave a lot of places for Plague Marines to play their objectives. If you know that map, I basically had to play take ground in one room on my home objective and force him to make decisions about where he wanted to flex. He could push into that room and try and deal with the 3 Marines that were in there, or he could go towards mid and try to stop the other 3 Marines that were there, because I just baited that I was going towards his home objective and then just left because he has a sniper there. There's nothing there. But the thing that really swung the game in my favor is turn 2, his Diabolic went in, his Grenadier, and used the Diabolic to hit 2 Marines and did no damage to either one of them. He just rolled a bunch of 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
And then he blew himself up. And then that death and the next 4 deaths that turn, he rolled a 1 on the explosive demise.
Oh. Yeah,
so
that doesn't
that
help.
alone just really allowed me to kind of steamroll through him. Then I won initiative turn 3. He didn't see the line for it, but I was able to get Plague Winds into his Melta before the Melta had ever gotten a shot off that game, and then I was able to charge and fight his Butcher and kill him and live on 4 wounds.
Very nice.
Yeah, and we actually ended that game with a tie.
Oh.
But GW and in the packet and everything, they don't let you play ties. You have to play round 5, but you don't play the crit op, which was secure. You have to play that all 3 objectives have to be whoever controls the most objectives at the end of the game.
Yeah.
He had 3 operatives: his Enforcer, his Sniper, and his Flenser, or his Plasma Gun, I'm sorry. Those were the 3 operatives left on his team. I had 4 Marines alive, and 3
Oh.
of them were on the center objective.
Yeah, that definitely favors the chunkier teams, right?
Yeah, there was just nothing he could do. It was kind of crappy. It should have been a tie.
I've never actually had that come up for me at the 2 worlds that I've been to, but at last worlds, I remember like going into top 8 and like learning about that and thinking, holy crap, if this happens to me, I'm golden because I'm playing Hierotek. My models literally come back to life on turn 5 once again.
Yep, and you can use the token to control an objective. Yeah. It's pretty good.
Crazy.
What's funny is in that round, so that's the top 8 players, right? Or top 4? Yeah, it was top 4.
Top 4, yeah.
I think, and then the other 4 players that were in top 8, 4 of those or 3 out of the 4 games went to ties.
Whew.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That was
really odd.
That's how good it was at Tacoma.
Yeah.
So I won that matchup technically by 1 point, and I got to play Joshua Kelly for the finals.
Yeah, Josh. Josh is great. I still haven't gotten to play Josh. I hope I do at some point. I feel like the only time I see him is at Worlds, and we're both Americans, so we don't get paired. I think he might have been at Nova last year, maybe. If he's at Nova this year, I hope I get to play Josh because he's a cool kid.
Yeah, I think you'll love that game. I owe a lot to the Kellys. Jimmy and I became friends last year at the Tacoma Open. I've spent a lot of time at his house with his family. Went down there for ADTT and spent time at his house and everything. And they're just the most amazing family. I love all of them. So Josh and I going into that finals, we were so excited to play each other because that was like our first competitive game. We played in the garage a few times, but yeah, no, we were both so stoked. And I really, like, I told him, I was like, I'm not going to hold back, but I really wanted him to win that game.
Yeah, how can you not? I mean,
yeah,
it's a tough one.
Well, and he told, I mean, that's how we are too. Is he would have been more offended if I had held back.
Yeah, I've definitely I've been in that spot, and it's fortunately for you both of you guys already had tickets going into that game, right? So I've personally run into this problem this year more than once, where I'm playing somebody who is a friend who I want to get a ticket so bad, and I'm like, listen, I have to give you the best game that I can. And that's what they want. Nobody ever wants a free ticket, right? The people that are going to these events, they want to earn it. And it would feel so much better to them to win that game against you at your best. So, yeah, I think, obviously, it should go without saying.
Yeah, no, and I think that's how it is across the board. Like, we all want our friends to come with us to Worlds and all those things, but it means nothing if you don't earn it. That's the whole point. And for him, we both just wanted to get a first place at a big event like that. He's always got to compete with his dad, who's incredible as well. Yeah. So, like, we were both excited that we were in the finals, and it was us. And we had such a good game. It was so tight.
And he was on Warp Coven?
He was.
Okay.
That is a hard matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Like Marines.
It's a hard matchup for almost anything, to be fair.
Yes, I agree. It was map 2, Vulcus, the Thunderdome, with the stronghold just right smack dab in the center.
Oh, God, that one, yeah.
And he got the deployment with the high vantage.
Yeah.
He didn't use it because I don't think you do. When you're playing Warp Coven on that matchup, you need to move towards the center and be ready to take space. I knew pretty quickly in that game on turn 1 that he was taking contain because he was putting himself into a position with his equipment and stuff like that to really deny contain. So turn 2, I won the roll-off, but I gave him initiative. And he just kind of stalled with one of his anglers. Because he went 3-2-2, as you do in the elite matchup. I don't think you'd ever not do that. And he stalled, and so I was like, I've got to figure out a way to get this game moving that doesn't kill me. And he had 3 2 sorcerers and a rubric on his flank, like behind the stronghold, just kind of bunched up, almost touching bases. So I moved up on conceal against, there's like this, I call it the poop pile because it looks like a piece of poop. It's a little scrap pile thing that you put on
It's
the
one
map.
of the light covers, right?
Yeah, and it's got little divots on either side. So if you're pressed up against this section, you basically have to get within 2 to shoot that operative if they're on conceal, or use seek light. And so that's what I did. I pressed up in there on his flank, basically denying contain, and I stayed on conceal and threw a stun grenade into those 3 operatives.
Oh,
And it only stunned one of them.
yeah.
But, then I knew that, and this is how I think about the game, is like I have to take risks and do weird things against really good players, or I'm never going to win. And sometimes you have to take these like bets. Like my friend Zach always considers it as like you're taking an 80% risk, and if it fails, or you take like a 30% risk, and if it fails, it becomes a 50%. If that fails, it becomes a 70%. And you're always taking these risks, and that's okay. But I knew that he was really going to abuse the temporal flux, because if he didn't in that position to get within 2 to shoot me, he would just be in the open against my warrior. And you don't want to eat a double shot from a warrior.
Oh, yeah.
So he used the flux, and my icon lived at 1 health, which was great, because
Huge,
now
yeah.
I know he's got to use the flux again that turn, because he set it up from turn 1. So now he's got to cast it again and do it again just to kill 1 operative. I was like, great. Then from there, I was able to, he specifically positioned himself, and this came up during the game, to be without for cover, so that way I couldn't charge him while inside the stronghold. And for people who don't understand what that means, you're using the thickness of the stronghold wall to stay outside of control range, but you're still in cover because you're barely within an inch of the terrain.
Right, yes.
So I just dashed my fighter into the stronghold and flailed. And that poisoned 2 of his Marines, which was huge. Because from there, he killed the fighter, he killed the icon. I did some damage to him with the flail. Okay, that's the end of turn 2. But because of that, I was able to get my champion on top of the stronghold, essentially overhanging slightly to stop him from charging.
Right.
And then I put my grenadier up there as well. And the reason why I say that inside-outside thing, and like with him and I always try to play a clean game with everybody, but I use like a proxy model to double check this with Dakota, and Dakota's an amazing TO. But I could have thrown a blight grenade into 4 of his operatives, because using the vantage as I'm drawing the cover lines and the way he positioned that 1 operative to not be able to be charged, he technically didn't have cover at that angle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't know that I could do that. So, and Dakota's like, and because he's a good TO, he's like, if you want to play it as it lies, we could play it as it lies. It's up to you. He didn't know that. His intent was to not be charged. I was like, well, I'm not going to do it because I want to be friends at the end of this. And if you did that to me, I'd hate you forever. So I was like, just move a little closer. It's fine. I don't care. And I think that that's how you should play the game, because things get knocked around. We're playing off of intent. Be a good sport and a good friend first, and then try to win. But I put him into a position with those moves where basically his sorcerer that can fly was the only one who could do anything that turn to me aggressively, and he won initiative. So I knew that he was going to fly on top of that stronghold and try to kill either my leader or my grenadier, or perhaps both, if he could double shoot. So I just used Nurglings.
I was going to say Nurglings.
Yes, of course.
The clutch Nurglings.
Oh, yeah. The one time you use it out of 5 games. And that really, you could just see him grind his gears, and he was thinking about how he's going to get out of this puzzle. And I might have said it to him. I think I said it out loud, but I was like, if this shot doesn't work, I think it's game. because if he doesn't kill my champion's going to get a double kill potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Grenadier's going to get a double kill. And it was just real bad. So he went for the shot on my champion, and I think he did like 6 wounds.
Okay.
And then I shot him with the plasma. I hadn't moved, so that brought him down to 4. And because of the stronghold, it's only 1 inch to drop. So I was able to move 2 inches and drop 1 to keep my ceaseless on a charge. And I was able to kill one of his Rubric Marines.
Huge, yeah.
Huge. Now it's like, okay, your other sorcerer is going to climb up here and double shoot my Grenadier. He goes to do that. And then, of course, I reminded him that when I fought his Rubric, my champion, who just took 6 damage, healed 3 of it. So
yeah.
He double shot the Grenadier. Grenadier lives on 4 wounds. Huge.
Yeah.
He's got now on top of this Vantage, he's got a sorcerer on 4 health with a poison token, a full health sorcerer, and then underneath the stronghold is Warp Flamer with about 7 wounds. And I was like, I'm just gonna send it. This is what I gotta do to win. I threw the crack grenade at his full health sorcerer, and it actually one-shot him.
Oh man.
Massive. And
yeah,
then I was able to.
That'll do it.
Oh yeah. It just rolled 3 crits and a hit, and he rolled 1 save, and that was it. And I was able to jump down into the stronghold, still keeping my ceaseless, and shoot with the bolter into the Ward Flamer and kill him as well.
Yeah.
From there, we go, because the 4 health sorcerer, I just used my warrior and double shot him. It was no big deal. So when we go into turn 4, he's got 1 sorcerer alive with like 7 health and a poison token. Or, I'm sorry, I think it was 4 health and a poison token because my Plaguecaster shot him. And then 2 Zangors that hadn't done anything all game.
Mm-hmm.
And I used Nurglings on him again.
Man, twice in one game, huh?
Yeah. Because I knew that character is the only one who could bring the game back.
Yeah.
And so from there, it was just like order of operations, like, ugh, you know. So I finished the game with 3 Marines alive, just sitting inside the stronghold, and he had 1 Zangor alive, and that was it. And he played such an incredible game, and I don't know how I found those lines when I needed to find them, but I think it's because I've been practicing so much. But it was probably one of the most fun games I've played in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's, a lot of the time I feel in these elite versus elite matchups, and I mean, he's, 7 models, so not entirely elite, but relatively elite. It can come down to, I feel like both players have to dig kind of deep at the top tables because it's just big chunks of stats, and warp coming's trickier, but there's a lot of toolboxes, or not rather, it's just a deep couple of toolboxes I feel that you have to tap into. And I mean, sometimes a big crack grenade is going to have a big swing, but sometimes it's using Nurglings more than once and stopping a double kill and just turning off the resources that your opponent has to like swing a game.
And then because of that Nurglings, he could activate, heal, and shoot once.
Yeah.
Or he could activate, move, shoot once, but he couldn't get over the stronghold wall because it was the like high part of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt bad. I felt so bad because he activated and did the heal and barely healed himself to 7 wounds, and then I had to remind him, you had a poison token, so you're actually at 6.
Oh yeah.
So being injured for that
Brutal.
one crackback was like, okay, there's no point in doing it now.
Yeah.
It was a close game, and I think if him and I played it back 5 times, he'd win 3 of them, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes that's how it goes. It's, I mean, you had a great tournament. So, I mean, again, congratulations on the Tacoma win. You got a sweet trophy. I did see the picture of that. I mean, so honestly, you are I mean, obviously with the plague nerfs, you kind of mentioned already you're going to move on from the team for a little bit at least. What's catching your eye next? Any other teams you want to play, or like what's on the menu?
Well, and first, thank you. Played my butt off, but I had a good time, and that's all that matters. But with Plague Marines, I mean, you know better than I do, because we've talked about it. Is they get boring real fast. There's only one way to play them effectively, and it's not the most interactive. You're just forcing your opponent to make mistakes, but that's also kind of my play style.
Yeah.
So the two teams that are looking exciting for me to end out the year is to go back to Jaegers, because those are my boys.
Yeah, that's me too right now. I want to play them so bad.
Especially with the changes. They just like, oh, I don't have to worry about elites as much. Amazing. Yeah. Jaegers look really fun. Aquilons look really fun. I played them a bunch. And Hierotek Circle. If I'm trying to be sweaty for Worlds, they look really fun. I have a lot of kill teams just because I've been able to invest in my hobby irresponsibly. So I don't want to play Sanctifiers. I don't think they're very fun to play. I also don't like their aesthetic. It's just not my thing. But yeah, those are the three teams that look super interesting to me right now. Is Aquilons, Jaegers, and Hierotek Circle.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I kind of went into today thinking, oh, we're gonna get a Dataslate, Hierotek's gonna get demolished, and then I can play something different. And I really want to do Jaegers because they're just like, I love Jaegers. You and I.
Oh yeah.
We have a Jaeger kinship going on, and
absolutely.
I've been playing them the past week or two, and I'm taking them to a little local tournament this weekend, and they're just a blast, But man, God, the thought of playing that team against Sanctifiers sounds so bad.
Yeah.
4-4 shotguns, 3-5. Oh man.
It's like playing against Novies on release, where you'd shoot them with a Jaeger shotgun, and they'd somehow end up
they'd heal
with more health.
Yeah.
It's like I'm playing Rocket Raccoon over here.
Yeah. And it's funny because like on a play style level, I don't know if you've noticed, Sean, but I love teams that don't die. And
yes,
Sanctifiers,
after years of knowing each other, you were very frustrating.
They don't die, Sanctifiers. So like on that level, they kind of appeal to me. But I'm with you on the aesthetic. They're not very cool. They're not very interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'll play a couple. Ryan and I, when we got the box, Ryan built them and painted them. Maybe I'll take him for a spin on the table, and maybe something will like click for me, and I'll like it. But I don't know. But I guess
it's rough.
Yeah, as we wrap up, Sean, as of course, thank you for coming on. Always great to talk to you. I'm going to give you a moment to any shout outs you want to do, any plugs. Take it away.
Yeah, there's just a couple. I really want to give a shout out to Kill Team Cascadia. They're the local scene Discord, event organizers, and for the large part in our area. Without them, Kill Team wouldn't be as big as it is in the Pacific Northwest. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest and you want to play and you want to know what the local stores are or where to play and things like that, go to killteamcascadia.com, join their Discord, and you'll find out about places like Waystone and Tacoma Games and Aegis Games and all those places in the Pacific Northwest where we all play. For myself, if you want to see the stuff that I paint, because I think of myself as a better painter than player, I'm at abc_minis on Instagram. And speaking of painting, I really, really, really want to shout out somebody who's been just integral to growing the scene as much as yourself, Shane. Like, you've done so much in Command Point, and I love you guys. But on the West Coast side of that is Squad Games and Dakota. And he has just launched a set of brushes. He designed them and manufactured them and invested in them with his own money. And I've been using them the last 2 days ever since I got back from Tacoma, and they are absolutely so good. I am so shocked at the price point that these brushes sit at for the quality that they are, and I am really, really, really picky on my brushes. So if you can check those out, even just look at them as a person, please.
What are they called?
They are the Claymore series brushes from he launched a line called Highlander Hobbies.
Yes.
And it's 4 brushes in a little box, and I think they're like $65 with tax and shipping and all that stuff. But it's squad-games.net, and like I told him when he told me about it, I was like, I'm gonna buy my own because I want to give you an honest review, and I haven't given him a review yet, but I've been using them, and they are incredible. And I'm super picky. Like, I will spend $30 a brush if I have to get what I want, and these are just top notch.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'll have to check those out myself. I'm not a big painter, not a big hobbyist, but I think.
Oh, and that's the other part, is if you're not a big painter and you want to like spoil yourself with brushes, what I think is a cool thing that he did is inside the little box, there's like a pamphlet. It's like a 2-page thing on how to take care of sable brushes.
Okay.
And I think that is just like a genius addition from a marketing standpoint, because like I ruined my first like 2 sets of brushes when I started painting minis. But
right.
If anybody knows my stuff, I posted online and stuff like that. Like, I think I'm a pretty good painter.
Oh, you definitely are. Anybody listening, go check out his Instagram. He's a great painter.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But it's more of like, I'm not just saying this because Dakota's my friend. Like, these are good brushes, and if we can support somebody who's also in the kill team scene, I think that's really cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on. We'll wrap it up here. As always, thank you to everybody listening. If you are, listening to the podcast every week and you're not subscribed, please go click that button. A lot of people listen; they don't even know they're not subscribed. The video pops up on their YouTube algorithm every week, and they click on it. Whether you're listening from Spotify or YouTube or Apple, wherever. Special shout out to the patrons over at patreon.com/commandpoint. I know we haven't been uploading a ton over there, but we appreciate your support. There will be stuff in the future, near future, I'll even say. Of course, thank you for listening. Sean, thank you for coming on. This is Shane and Sean. We just talked about the Dataslate and Plague Marines. Signing out.